Steven Stamkos, Alexander Barkov, Nikita Kucherov, Matthew Tkachuk, Braden Point, Sam Reinhart, Andrei Vasilevsky, Sergei Bobrovsky, Victor Hedman. They don't have a defenseman to compare him to. The Battle of Florida. Third time around. Fast, physical, high skill. A rivalry. One that's been one-sided for ever. We're here. It's playoff time. NHL playoffs. Time to get hype. Ready to go. I already got my tickets for Game 4. That is where I will be. That game is Saturday at 5 o'clock. But we got 3 games before then, and we got to get ready to go. Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers. Like I said, third time around, Battle of Florida. Things are a little different than they have been the last 2 times. That first time around in 2021, extremely physical, was a little bit tougher, but the Lightning came out on top, 4-2 in the series. 2022, that's when the Panthers, regular season Panthers, they were on top of the world. They were putting up, it seemed like 5, 6, 7 goals a game. Just ridiculous with Huberdeau and Barkov and Verhaeghe and this just insane offensively skilled team. They go into the playoffs. They win a playoff series. But then they come up against the kryptonite, their worst nightmare, their rivals that it still isn't even that much of a rivalry yet when we're talking about accomplishments, achievements, what have you done? And they get swept 4-0. Spent a little bit too much time probably on Dal Mabry. You know, we got some spots down there that they couldn't resist. They could not resist the spaceship, and I hope it was worth it. But I will say this. They made one of the best moves. Still, it's not talked about enough. When it happened, I liked it. And now here we are today. Sending off Jonathan Huberdeau to the Calgary Flames and bringing in Matthew Tkachuk. They had this team in 2022, as I said. It seemed like it was the Lightning in 2019. Unstoppable force throughout the regular season. You get into the playoffs and you're like, yeah, we're just not built for this. Move some of this skill and turn it into physicality, hunger, just being annoying to the other team. A Yanni Gord. Those type of guys. And they probably got one of the best ones in the NHL. It's Tkachuk. It's Marchand. Those type of guys completely changed the mindset of this team. They go from being number 1 to barely squeaking into the playoffs last year, but they get into the playoffs. They're built for the playoffs now. They go all the way to the Stanley Cup final. They end up losing to the Vegas Golden Knights, but they are built for it now. And I'm not going to overlook that, and I know the team is not overlooking that. Their top guy is a playoff hockey player. That's just who he is. No moment is too big for Matthew Tkachuk. Can't stand him. Can't stand his brother either. But they are just the perfect playoff player. And with that being said, I think this will be the toughest matchup when comparing it to 2021, 2022. They're just much more well-built for the playoffs, like 2020, like 2021 for the Lightning. Those teams were just built for the playoffs. They had that depth on the defensive end, offensive end. You had your stars, you had your stud goalie. This team is much more built like those teams rather than the 2019 Lightning team that got swept in the first round. Similarly, us sweeping them. All right, so let's look at some of their top guys, look at their depth, and just see, I know we know this team very well, but how they finished off their season. So Reinhardt, we all know, he had his best season of his career. 82 games played, 57 goals, 94 points, nearly hit that 100-point mark. A 29 plus minus. That is fantastic. Matthew Tkachuk, 80 games played, ends up with 88 points, 62 assists, 26 goals. Barkov, captain over there. These numbers aren't even going to tell you how important he is to this team. Defensively, if not the best, one of the best offensive defensive players in the NHL. Verhaeghe, we already know about him. Former Lightning player. We know how he plays and how much he's improved since his time leaving the Lightning. Tarasenko, trade deadline pickup, veteran. He's won a Stanley Cup. He has the experience. Not the same player, but he has the experience. Sam Bennett, a-hole. They just have a lot of guys that fit that bill. Cousins, Lomberg. It's just, they built this team the right way. Okposo, another solid pickup. Not going to be putting up a ton of points, but I think he will play well for them come playoff time. Now for the Lightning, we really don't have to speak on playoff experience. It's there. Multiple players on this team having 2 Stanley Cups, 2 rings. Vasilevsky, different beast when it comes playoff time. Stamkos, healthy. Kucherov, healthy. Hedman, ready to go. Point, ready to go. Last year, we saw the injuries in that first round against the Maple Leafs. Still, to this day, I'm not even being petty. I think we outplayed the Maple Leafs, but with the injuries and just sometimes in the playoffs, it's just the way things fall. Things fell the Maple Leafs' way more often than the Lightning's way. And they moved on and got eliminated by the Florida Panthers. All right, so we're going to have 5 categories that we're going to break this down into and say, do we think the Lightning have the advantage here or the Florida Panthers? So first, we'll start off with coaching. The guy that has still somehow never won a Jack Adams, John Cooper. Despite his success, despite the championships, his resume speaks for itself, not even needing a Coach of the Year award. Then we have Paul Maurice, seeing what he's done with this team. Very impressive. But I'm giving this to John Cooper. Let's be for real right now. Paul Maurice, great coach. I've loved what he's done with the Florida Panthers. I've hated what he's done with the Florida Panthers, if you're following what I'm saying. It's very impressive, but you can't put him over John Cooper. Let's be for real right now. Next, we'll go to offense. Offense, we got to give that to the Lightning. The star power, Nikita Kucherov, 144 points, 100 assists. Do I need to say anything else about this guy? He needs to win the Hart Trophy. What he's done as a winger. Steven Stamkos, veteran, power play. You know where he's going to be, and you still can't stop it. Braden Point, speed, the skill, about a 50-goal scorer. And then I just feel like since the trade deadline, I'm much happier with the offensive depth for this team. Guys like Nick Paul, Anthony Duclair going up against his former team now. Cirelli, Hagel. These are all quality pieces for any team. And these are the depth guys for the Lightning, and they are going to be a big role because we know how much this team is going to latch on to the Kucherovs, the points. Even though a guy like Kucherov, you can limit him, you can't stop him. You can limit him. These depth pieces, they are going to have to step it up and score some goals. So that is 2-0 Lightning. Next, we'll go to the defensive side. I think the Panthers are more sound defensively. Do they have a Victor Hedman? No. do they even have a Mikhail Sergachev, like an offensive defenseman in that type of way? I'd say no. But just being more sound as a collective group, I think the Panthers are better in that area than the Lightning are. So here's the question of, does Sergachev return in this series? At yesterday's practice, he was not wearing a red non-contact jersey. He was wearing the same jersey in practice as everyone else. Just maybe 2.5 months ago, snapping his tib fib. Like, that is insane recovery and honestly kind of scary. Like, I feel like if he does play, anytime he gets hit or like looks like he's about to get, like I'm gonna grimace. Like that just feels too soon to me. I don't know what is going on behind the scenes. He does post a lot, give a lot of updates. It seems just like everything was just moving pretty quick. It's not my decision. I ain't a doctor. But if he returns, that adds a huge weapon to this team. Because last year, he was the guy on the power play. It wasn't Victor Hedman. He scored more points than Victor Hedman last year. Sergachev had a huge year last year, and the injuries this year were extremely unfortunate, and the timing was just terrible after how well he played last year. So we're now at 2-1 Lightning Panthers. Next, we're just going to say depth. So those third and fourth lines, this again, I'm giving it to the Panthers. The Lightning have been just ripped to pieces over the years by the salary cap. It's just the way of the salary cap era. You can win, but you can't keep all these players. These guys want to get paid, and that's okay. They have families. They want to create generational wealth. That's fine. Anyone who gets on Alex Killorn for leaving to go to Anaheim, why? This is his last chance to get a big payday. He went and got it. Good for him. Everything that he's done for this organization, I have nothing bad to say about Alex Killorn. But that's just the way the league is run now. Guys like Alex Killorn, they're going to have to go. Coleman, have to go. Goodrow, have to go. These aren't like star players on this team, but they are pieces that are good enough to get a nice little contract, and the Lightning don't got nice little contract money. So, depth, I'm going to give it to the Florida Panthers. So now we're at 2-2, last spot. I hate to just be anticlimactic like this, but goaltender. There probably might even be some people that try to argue Sergei Bobrovsky just looking at the stats from this season. But we know Vasi, during the offseason, had to get surgery. So he wasn't able to be in his Andrei Vasilevsky grind, missed the first 2 months of the season, so he was pretty much just thrown into the fire once he was healthy. And he had some rough goals allowed, he had some rough games, but the closer and closer and closer we got to come to playoff time, he started to look more and more like the Andrei Vasilevsky we know. And we know once you get into a playoff series and it's no longer the regular season, he's different. He's different. And that's why people put him on their Mount Rushmore of all-time goalies. Throw him in a must-win game. He's ridiculous. There's a reason why the NHLPA, whenever they have votes on what goalie would you want in a must-win game scenario, the vote came out this year. I think it was 46% for Andrei Vasilevsky, and the next guy was like maybe at 10% or lower. He's different. Playoff time, he's different. All the props that I gave to Matthew Tkachuk for being different in the playoffs, same goes for Andrei Vasilevskiy. And he's proven it way more than Matthew Tkachuk has. With that, I am taking, big shocker, the Tampa Bay Lightning to win in Game 6. I think they split the first 2 games in Florida. I think the Lightning can win both in Tampa. They go back to Florida, lose Game 6. They end it at home. That's what I'm going with. I think this team has just looked completely different. Looked isn't even the right word. They have been completely different since the trade deadline. Duclair, Dumba, I don't know what it was. Just adding a little bit of depth, and then maybe the team just was like, all right, we're not playing up to our level. We need to turn it on. They turned it on. That month of March was insane. They were good in April until they already clinched and games really didn't even mean anything. But they still didn't play terribly. Those first few months of the season where we're just like, bro, they're just giving away the puck in their own zone. There are so many neutral zone turnovers. Like, what is happening? Just all went out the door. Kind of crazy. But we watched it happen. So carrying that into the playoffs, this looks like a different team. This looks like the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously, I can be wrong. This is a really good team on the other side, really physical team on the other side, a team that loves to get under your skin. How will the Lightning respond? I think the experience will suit them well. That physicality, that get under your skin, the annoyance, worked for the Panthers last year, going through the Maple Leafs, going through the Bruins. But you got a team like the Lightning, who else do they play? Hurricanes. You got a team like the Lightning, who went to the Stanley Cup Final 3 times in a row. There's not much that's gonna get under their skin. There's not. So we'll see if that tactic works for the Panthers. And I'm gonna say it's not. And that is why I'm picking the Lightning in 6. So, I'm excited for it tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Battle of Florida. 3rd time around. Let's get it going. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment your thoughts and your predictions down below. I want to hear, who you got? You got the Panthers in 6? I wouldn't fight you against it. I really won't. Like, when I say Lightning in 6, that's not with cockiness. That's just, I think they are well matched up against the Panthers. Despite everything that's changed about this Florida Panthers team, I think come playoff time, the Lightning will have the answers. So, once again, comment your predictions down below. Please like and subscribe. I cannot wait for 12:30 tomorrow.